Hey there everybody, it's Colin Smith here from photoshopCAFE. And in this tutorial what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to blend two photographs together seamlessly. Sometimes it can be really easy to take two photographs and then blend them together and just make this really nice transition, and then I'll show you some masking tricks to actually help you refine it and make a nice little composition out of two photographs. And this is a really good foundational principle for all kinds of compositing and collaging. Obviously, there's a lot more to it, but this is a great way to get started with seamlessly blending images. So we've got two photos here I got from the Dollar Photo Club. And we can see we've got a little background here, and then we've got the lady here with the cool little leaves in her hair. So we're going to mix these two together. So what we want to do is we want to drop one image on top of the other. Now, for people that are used to using an earlier version of Photoshop and you find these tabs a little daunting, you can go back. If you go under Window, go down to Application Frame and turn that off, you'll see you'll get the floating windows just like you always had in Photoshop in the old days. And now you can actually just click and drag and you can merge these images together just like that, just like you always did. I'm just going to undo this and I'm going to show you a way to do it with the application frame. So we're going to go back to Window and we're going to turn on Application Frame. Now I like this because it helps me stay organized, because I can tend to get a lot of mess all over my desktop very quickly. So I prefer to keep them together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this photograph here and I'm just going to click and drag over the other tab. The other one's going to appear. So right now I haven't taken my finger off yet. You can see the cursor is black there. You can see that. And that's holding that image in place. So I'm going to drop it in the center. I'm going to hold the Shift key and drop it. And now you'll notice that we've got one image on top of the other. Now, if you wanted to change the order of those, it'd be very simple. All we simply do is, well, let me turn this off first and hide it so you can see what's going on. Notice this is a background. Well, one of the great things in CC is you can just simply click that little lock icon and that will unlock it. Now, if you're working on an earlier version, you just hold down the Alt key or the Option key on Mac and just click on that, and that will also do the same thing. So now that we've set it into just a floating layer instead of a background, we can change the order. Let me turn the top one on back so you can see, and I'm just going to click and drag over the top. So you can see how you could change the order of these very quickly and easily. So now we've got two images stacked on top of each other. Now, if we wanted to stack it that way, we could have dragged it back into this image here too. That was another option. But let's have a look at blending these two together right now. What I'm going to do is create a layer mask. Go down to the Layers panel, click on the mask, and you'll notice that this mask appears. It's doing nothing right now. That's because it's filled with white. So the little saying, there's a little thing that says that white reveals and black conceals. So right now it's revealing this top layer. Nothing is happening. But if we want to conceal this layer, we just simply grab a brush and we could begin to paint with black. And as we paint with black, it allows the layer underneath to show through. If we reverse that and paint with white, notice what happens there. It now reveals the top layer and hides the layer underneath. So I'm just going to select the layer mask and I'm going to fill it right now with white. So first of all, I'm just going to hit the D key to reset the foreground and background colors. And then to fill that, notice we've got white there as the foreground color. So I'm going to hit Alt Backspace and that'll fill it. If I wanted to fill it with the background color, I would have hit Control Backspace, or that would be Command Backspace on Mac. So the way a layer mask works is essentially, rather than erasing out of the layer itself, what we do is we actually take a mask and put it on top of that layer, and then we paint onto the mask. So when we cut out the mask, it cuts out that layer and shows the layers underneath. And then the advantage of that is a mask is non-destruction, so we can paint it back. So if we paint with black, it cuts it out, we see what's underneath. We paint with white, it covers it up again with that top layer. Now, if you were to take the eraser tool and do that, you just make a hole in the photograph that you can't recover. So that's why we use a layer mask. So here we go. So what we want to do now is we want to blend these together seamlessly. The way to do that is to grab the gradient tool here. Now, with the gradient tool, we're grabbing our white to black. There's a couple of options up here. We want to open up a gradient editor and make sure we've selected the first option, which is foreground to background. Then make sure you've selected the linear option. Mode, your blend mode is set to normal, and opacity is at 100.
And now if we do this and we paint on the mask, and there's several ways to see if you have the mask selected. So if we select the mask here, you'll notice the little white around there versus selecting the image. Another thing that'll happen is if you go up here, it shows this is RGB when we've selected the layer. When we select the mask, it changes to layer mask, and it tells you the mask is selected. A third way to tell is to actually double click that mask. It'll open up the properties panel, and it shows the mask is selected. If I click away, notice it says no mask selected. So there's several ways of seeing if your mask is selected, and you want to make sure that's the case. And then we're going to simply grab a gradient. Now the way the gradient tool works is if you click and drag, you'll see a line, and then once I release, that gradient there will fill that area. And I can see that by hitting the Alt key or the Option key. You can see there's the gradient we added. And just simply click back on the image to view it again. So you can see what we were able to do. We were able to create this nice seamless blend between the foreground here and the background by using the gradient. There's different ways we could do it. If we click here, we could blend it in there. But notice what happened. That's because we had the layer selected. So just Command Z to undo, make sure the mask is selected, and now watch what happens. Notice now we can blend this together different ways just by simply clicking and dragging. So you can see we've got lots and lots of options. So one of the things you may want to do is just start here and then create your blend first of all. And then when you're happy with that blend, you can fine tune it by simply painting inside the mask. So remember what I said, white reveals and black conceals. So if I want to show more of the woman on here, I just simply need to paint with a white brush. So I'm going to grab the brush here, make sure that white is selected. And we could also look at the brush panel here. If you don't see it, it's under Window Brush. And I've got it open here. Now I'm using pressure sensitivity. So there's a couple of different things I could do. Usually I like to turn on the transfer mode, and I set that for pen pressure. Notice this little exclamation marks showing. That's because it doesn't see a pen. If I move my pen close to my tablet, that will disappear. And notice that doesn't show up anymore. And now we're sitting on there. So I can change the size of my brush many ways, but hitting the left and right bracket keys are one way. And I can simply begin to paint in here. Notice what I'm doing. I'm just gently painting. And what I'm doing is I'm showing more of this top layer. If I don't like that, I can just undo it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in here and I'm just going to paint these in a little bit just down this side to kind of show that. And then what I want to do is I want to release, and that's kind of drawn that in there. Now you can change the hardness of your brush. You can use a hard brush or a soft brush. A lot of the time I like to use a hard edge brush for precision selections. But in this case, I'm just kind of painting gently. So I'm going to use a soft edge brush. And I think this kind of gives us the look and feel that we're going for. So I'm just gently painting over this with a few strokes here. And you can see where we're able to bring her back and make her much more visible against the background. Now let's have a look and see how that happened. If I hold the Alt key or the Option key, I can click on the mask and I can see what I've done there. So I notice there's a little bit of cleaning up that needs to be done, and I can literally do that now because I'm seeing inside that mask. And we're just going to click back. Now if you find your edges get a little too hard, you can always double click here, go in the masks panel and feather that mask. And then when you feather that mask, notice what it does is just creates this soft edge. And let me show you what happens to the mask while we're doing it. Alt key or Option key and click and drag. And notice what we're doing. When we feather it, we're just simply softening that transition there. And that creates just a smoother, more pleasing result. So that's just like the real basics there on how to blend two images together inside of Photoshop. There's a lot of different things that we can do with blending modes and masks and different things like that. Make sure you check out some of the other training on Photoshop Cafe for more in-depth training on this. And also I want to make you aware that I also have a written tutorial for this, and you'll see that right there in the link underneath this video. Or if you're on the page on photoshopcafe.com, just read the tutorial there, and so you can watch the video and you can also read the tutorial for more detailed information.
I hope you've learned something, or more importantly, I hope you've got a little bit inspired. I really want to kind of share what I've learned over the years with you, and the best way to do that is for you to obviously subscribe so I can share it with you, but also comment in the bottom. Let me know how this is helping you or what you'd like to learn, And then that way we can kind of move along this journey together and really start to focus on the things that you want to learn and the things that you want to know. And also, don't forget, check out all the resources at photoshopcafe.com. We've got tons of them. It's a newly redesigned website with all kinds of free tutorials. We've got videos, we've got step-by-step tutorials, we've got downloads, and also an entire library of training. You know, if you want the premium training from a host of authors, a lot of them you've probably heard of. So check it out, and until then, I'll see you at the cafe.